Hey, what is up guys, I'm Xteria, and in this video, we're going to be talking about what are the best comps to play in patch 15.4 of day 1. So this means that over the next few days, the meta will change from this video. This is just what we know for now. And I'll make a follow-up video later about the current meta. Getting right into it, the first comp we're going to be talking about is Katarina Reroll. And this board is pretty interesting because we have the new fruit, which is Veteran. And basically this fruit is, you turn Katarina into a mentor. So basically this board is the mentor mech board, but instead of using Yasuo, you're playing with Katarina 3. And you want to reroll this board at level 6. And when you're rerolling for her, your board will basically look something like this if you don't have the fruit yet on Katarina. So if you do have the fruit on her already, then you can't play a mentor unit because she's technically a mentor. So when you have two mentors on the board, it cancels each other out. So you can't have this Kabuko on the board. Therefore, you have to look for a different unit to play until you can find the mentors later. So you can just use the Aatrox that you will use later anyways. So this board will be fine until you can find 4 mentors. For example, if you find an Udyr, a Yasuo, and a Kabuko, then that means you can drop everything else and play this for your level 6 board. And this would be fine until you can find Ryze. But once you're 3-star cat, then you pivot into this whole board in general. And if you can't find Lee Sin, you can use a Kali level 8. That's fine as well. And then level 9, then you can start Lee Sin to have 5 Executioner. For your items, you always need Edge Knight on Cat, so she doesn't die as easy, and some sort of lifesteal item like Hodge, since she is a frontline unit. And interesting enough, Natural Tooth is probably her best item. Because you don't play Battle Academia on this board, she's only gonna Shumpo one time, meaning like her ability, it only casts like one time. Because if you have Battle Academia on, she casts twice. So therefore having that Nature's Tooth kind of helps her keep casting more since it'll give her attack speed and AP. And the most important item here on the board would be Voice Staff on Ryze. Then you can put whatever. Archangel Staff is his best item. But if you can't put that, it's fine. Just put whatever AP items you can find on him. And other items you can put on Katarina that are a good substitute is, instead of using Edge Knight, you can use Zonios as an artifact. And instead of Hodge, you can do Bloodthirster, which is okay. And instead of Nashers, the other artifact item, Dawncore, would be a good substitute as well. So these are items that you can flex around. But if you don't want to use any of the artifacts, you're going to have to use Edge Knight no matter what. And basically it's either Hodge or BT Flex. With, instead of Nashor's Tooth, you can do Strikers is okay, but Nashor's is the best as of what we know right now. For your fruits on Katarina, Veteran is the end goal, so you can look for this on stage 4, but if you're playing her like early game, then you can use something like Crimson Veil is okay to start with so she doesn't die as easy, or Unflinching, which is also okay to start with. So basically some sort of lifesteal. Or anything to do with damage like Hemorrhage is okay as well. But you want to use your fruit removers no matter what to get Veteran on Cat, because if you don't, this board will not work. So the end goal is Veteran no matter what. If you start with Veteran, then you have to play a different board like I showed earlier. If not, then just wait until stage 4 to get this fruit. The second unit you want to fruit would be Kabuko, because if you get him 3-star, he's going to be your best tank. Since you're rolling at level 6 for both 2-cost units, which is basically Cat and Kabuko, Unstoppable on Kabuko is the best, so he can just CC people down. Or you can use Resistant to make him extra tankier. If you don't get Kabuko 3, it's okay. If you have decent items on Ryze, then you can do Icebender or Stormbender on Ryze. So you have at least a second DPS in the back. Other than that, that's basically about it for this board. Your opener is basically looking for a cat and playing Battle Academia to start with. You can position like this as well, which helps with Katarina like just jumping everywhere. So this makes it to where she could just jump to the back sometimes. This next comp, since they buff him, is Malzahar with Heavyweights. This comp is pretty interesting because you can play 2 different carries, which is Darius 3 with Malzahar 3. And you may notice that you don't use Supreme Cell Darius. That's just because 6 Heavyweight on Darius is actually super strong in general. So you don't really need the Supreme Cell. You do, no matter what, need a Prodigy for Malzahar. And you may notice there's 2 Malzahars because you have to play with the specific fruit, which is Shadow Clone. So you can have a second Malzahar on the board. The main item you want on Malzahar is Murloc no matter what. Then whatever AP items you can build, like mana regen such as Blue Buff or Adaptive or Shojin. Voice Staff is very good just so Malzahar can do more damage. If not, you can do like Death Cap, Gunblade. It doesn't really matter. As long as you have anti-heal, which is Morello, that's all you need. And put a bunch of sword items on Darius. And this board is basically good to go. For your opener, is pretty simple. It's just having these 4 units to start with, and then you just branch out over time. Basically about it for that. But yeah, going to the fruits, like I said earlier, Shadow Clone Malzahar is the best, just so you can have 2 Malzahars on the board just melting everything. So you have to have this fruit no matter what. And for your second fruit is going to be Darius, which is Fusion Dance. So you can eat one of the heavyweight units, so you just one-shot everything. If you cannot get this, or you don't want to do this, then you could just get any other fruit that does damage or lifesteal on Darius is fine. Or you can fruit your Poppy instead with Unstoppable, just so you have extra CC on the board. When you're playing this board, you're basically rerolling at 7, so this means that you cannot play 6 heavyweight. So therefore, you can play a board something like this, where you take out your Aatrox, and most likely your Poppy, sadly. Then you play something like Kennen, So at least you have Supreme Cell at level 7. And then once you 3-star your Malzahar and your Darius, then you push for level 8 to throw back your heavyweight units, which is Aatrox and Poppy later. So therefore you can play your max cap. And if you do want to throw that level 9 unit, Xayah will probably be best just because it gives you a +1 unit. Or you can throw in a +1 Prodigy unit. For example, like Seraphine, it's fine as well to do that. Basically anything that can power up your board, it's fine. Or now I just saw a different method. At level 7, you could just play this instead, just 6 heavyweight. This also works really good as well. So either one you want to do with 4 heavyweight with 2 Prodigy, or you could do just 6 heavyweight with just Malzahar. And then at level 8, then you throw in your Prodigy unit, which is Syndra, because you get Star Guardian with Poppy. Next up we got is Xayah. And you have to play this from a specific fruit as well, like Katarina. The fruit you're looking for is Fan Service on Xayah. The main reason why is because if you have 3-star Rakan and Xayah, they share their stats amongst one another, so therefore they gain even more stats to destroy everything. And if you're wondering, yes, you also need Fan Service on Rakan too, because I know people are going to ask that. And for this board, you may notice that you don't play Edgelord. The main reason why is because we found out like a couple days ago, for this comp specifically, we use Jinx at level 8. The main reason why is because after you get a kill with Xayah, Jinx's Star Guardian gives you more attack speed, so therefore Xayah's gonna hit even more. So it's better to have that extra attack speed for a backline unit compared to having that extra AD. Xayah is an attack speed champion anyways, so more attack speed, the better it is for her. And she doesn't really benefit from the Omnivamp as well with Edgelord since she's a backline unit overall. The core items you want to look for is Archangel Staff, Gargoyles +1 on Rakan. I've seen Titans is actually really good, so you could do that for BIS. And your core on Xayah is Guinsoo's Rage Blade with Kraken. And third item could be Giant Slayer. And to take note of this, Giant Slayer is actually really good in the current meta. I can't really say the specifics why. I think they buffed it this patch, but I've been seeing it win really well. I went to look through the patch notes, and yeah, they buffed it by 5% more app. So therefore this item is actually really good overall. There is another trick to play this board. If you get the augment Double Trouble, then you play this board instead. With Fan Service, it'll increase your power even more. And for those of you that don't know what Double Trouble is, it's basically an augment is when you field 2 the same exact copies of a unit, you gain more stats. And once you 3-star them, you gain a free 2-star on the board because you have more of the unit's star level. So you can have 2 Xayahs, 2 Rakans, then just take out your Malphite. Then you play this board. So you play basically with 4 Protector and 2 Rakans with 2 Xayahs. Then you throw in Jinx at level 8. Then this board is basically capped out here. And for those that's wondering, you reroll this comp at level 6. Next up we got here is Xayah. And there's 2 different boards you can play this. This one is more of the uncontested version, since not a lot of people play Monster. So you're going to be using, for your Lulu, Rammus on this board. And you need to even shroud no matter what on your main tank. For the other board, it's the same thing. Even shroud on your main tank, which is Kabuko, and whichever one you want, it's fine, whichever board you want to play. I prefer this board instead because Kabuko with 4 Mentor is actually very powerful. The only issue is this board already caps out at level 7. Compared to this board, you have to hit level 8. So there is a difference between the two. The strat is, if you have a lot of Kabukos, then you might as well play for 3-star Kabuko. If not, just play for this board instead. Or unless you can't find any Rammus, then vice versa. 2-star this whole board with Xayah 3 is fine as well. It's just depending on what you hit. For Xayah items, you need mana item no matter what, like blue buff for Shojin, and then IE is your core. +1 item like Strikers would be best. If not, you could do Giant Slayer, either or, since Giant Slayer is actually really powerful right now. And always have an even shroud no matter what on the board. Basically about it for your items. For your fruit on Xayah, what I prefer is every time I start with her, I look for max attack. The main reason why is because every time you get kills, you get more AD over time. So this fruit will help her a lot. But if you don't get any early game kills, then I would suggest to get Bula Hell instead, which is okay. Or Attack Expert is also pretty decent. It's just flat 80 stats. If not, Stormbender is technically okay, but I don't prefer it. Since Xayah is an AD champ, I feel like this doesn't really do anything for her. But this site does say it's S tier, so it's totally up to you if you want to use it or not. And if Kabuko is your main tank, then the best fruit it will be Unstoppable or Resistant. If Rammus is your main tank, then the best fruit would be either Resistant or technically any of the Monster Trainer ones is fine. If not, I like to do Body Change, which I feel like is the best. So it's either Resistant or Body Change in my opinion. Other than that, just start with Xayah and try to build to one of these boards, and that's basically about it. You want to reroll Xayah at level 6. Once you 3-star her, then hit level 7 to play either this Max Cap board, or for the Mentor version, then you have to hit level 8 to play this Max Cap version. And if you're wondering what the throw as your +1 here, just basically anything. You can throw in Zyra, because she's a good +1 unit, or you can throw in Lee Sin and turn in Executioner for your Akali. This next comp here we got is Crystal Gambit, and I know a lot of you want to play Illusory Crystal Gambit, but in my opinion, there's no point in doing that because the cash outs are just not worth it to lose 80 HP over for almost no return. For those that don't know, if you have 5 Crystal Gambit, you still get really good cash outs anyways if you kill a certain amount of units. So therefore, when you're playing Crystal Gambit, playing 5, getting a bunch of kills is way more worth it than on a lose streak. But if you have to play on a lose streak, then it's fine to do if you had to do it. But don't force the lose streak. If you're strong enough already, just stay strong. And in order to play 7, you need Emblem no matter what. So basically saying in order to play this comp, you do need Emblem. And the best unit for that would be Cassante. And since he's not contested as much anymore this patch, since Yuumi is basically dead in the current meta, it should be pretty easy to find Cassantes now in the current patch. And if you already do have a duelist, because Crystal Gambit does drop a duelist spat, then you can just get rid of Udyr and throw in Braum instead, so you can power your board even more. And that's basically about it on how to play it. For your items, you always need Gwynsu's Rageblade and Kraken on Ashe, and you can put +1 like either any of the artifacts that you get, or maybe another Kraken or another Rageblade's fine. Or like what I like to do is Hextech Gunblade to heal the board. And tank items on Constante would be best since this unit is really OP. And whatever AP items on Xayah, and just put whatever tank items left over on either J4 or Swain. Either one's fine. And if these gloves, or if you get another emblem, then you can put it on Braum, that's fine as well. Either one, it's up to you. You can just mix and match depending on what you get. But yeah, that's basically about it for this board. The opener is essentially just Gnar with anything you can find and play up to this board. For your fruits on Ashe, the best one will be Shadow Clone because Crystal Gambit does work on the Shadow Clone as well. So therefore having Shadow Clone will be super powerful. And for your Cassante, Unstoppable would be best. If not, Resistant is okay. Next up we got is Mentor Ryze. And there's too much to talk about this comp that I did make a video guide on how to play this comp. But this part I'm going to explain is a little different from the video because I didn't explain this at all. Where sometimes what I like to do is I like to build stuff like Edge of Night and potentially IE. And since they nerfed Senna, there's no need to itemize her anymore now. What I like to do now is to put Volibear on the board because we get Edgelord, and Volley 2 is actually pretty powerful. Even without Luchador, he still does work. So this is what I like to do sometimes. And the fruits is basically Icebender, I always pick on Ryze no matter what, and Socialite on Aatrox. And I just flex around with either Volibear 2, or if I hit a Yone 2, then I just sell the Volibear, pivot the items to him, and play around Yone. Then your knife unit is going to be Lee Sin into Executioner, and this is how I play the board now. But the guide is still pretty good overall if you want to check that video out. It does explain where to put all the Socialite hexes in that video as well. Okay, next up we got is 2 different ways of playing Soul Fighter. This one is the Viego Reroll version. Or you can play just regular Soul Fighter with Samara as your main carry, with Shojin, Giant Slayer, and IE. Blue buff is fine as well. But for your items on Viego, is always Edge of Night, if not Zonia's from Artifact, Jewel Gauntlet, and Hodge. Or better yet, what I've seen is Gwynsu's Rageblade. So apparently these are like the best items. The reason why is because when you play Viego on this board, you want to play for the fruit Stretchy Arms. This allows you just to keep hitting non-stop and you gain extended range. And then for your other fruit, it's going to be Set. Put whatever tank ones you can on him and it's fine. And over time, essentially, you just play your best board. For your level 8 unit, you can throw in Volibear because it gives you Edgelord on Samara. Then level 9, then you throw in the last 2 Soul Fighter units like Callista and the Fury. So you can have more power on the board. But most of the time you'll be playing this board instead. And you reroll this board at level 7. Once you 3-star your Viego, then you level up over time to add in the units that I said earlier. And Gwen will be hard to find at level 7, so just look for whatever unit until then. For your Samara style board, essentially you'll be playing all 8 Soul Fighter, but most of the time you can't find Gwen. So therefore, you're gonna have to play Volibear instead for Edgelord until you can find Gwen at level 9. Then when you do hit level 9, you throw in Gwen. Unless you have a Yone 2, then that would be better than Volibear. Or if you have Soul Fighter emblem, you can get rid of Callista and throw in a +1 unit like Braum. It'll be really great to do. And instead of Yone, then you can do Volibear 2 instead, so you can get at least extra CC on the board. Totally up to you whichever one you want to do. For Samara's fruit, the best one I would say is either on the edge, or what I like to do is Precision, because it just makes her one-shot everything. In this site, it says Shadow Clone is good, but personally, I feel like Shadow Clone greased me a lot, so I don't personally take this one on Samara. But it is technically good. Put Resistant on Set, any tank one's good, or round 2, or any like tank you can find. It doesn't really matter. Unless you want to fruit your Gwen, then take Fusion Dance, because this allows her to gain extra stats, so therefore you can eat your Lux, because Lux is kind of useless in my opinion, so you just eat Lux with Gwen, and she just one-shots everything. And that's basically about it for the 2 styles of Soul Fighter. Our next comp is going to be Jhin Reroll. And technically is Malphite reroll, either one way how you see it. But essentially you want to start with Malphite 2 and 3-star him as fast as you can. then hit level 6 to roll for Jhin 3-star. Sometimes what I like to do is, if I don't have enough Jhins as I'm rolling for Malphites, then I just play for Sivir and Malphite 3, and then just hit level 8 to play Jinx as my main carry instead of Jhin 3, because sometimes you just low roll Jhin. So therefore having a 2-star Jinx would be a better fit than a 2-star Jhin if you can't find them 3-star. But essentially, it's just 3-star whatever units you can with Malphite, with the other one cost like Kennen or Gnar, and you will get 3-star Sivir no matter what because she is a crew. And the max cap is basically just 4 protector and as much snipers as you can fit. At level 9, you can just throw in Varus for 5 sniper. For your items though, you do need Gargoyle Stoneplate no matter what on Malphite, and same with Spirit. Then plus 1 item, doesn't really matter on a third one. And for Jhin, it's just all sword items, whatever you can find. For your fruit on Malphite is either resistant or standalone. Either one is okay. But if you're starting with Malphite and you don't have these fruits, something like Spiky Shell would be really good to win streak with in the early game, or Atomic would be nice as well. Either one is great. For your Jhin fruit, I prefer Artistic KO no matter what, because for whatever reason, every time I take Spirit Sword, I always lose with it. But apparently it is good as well. So whichever one you want, Artistic KO or Spirit Sword, either one is fine. Next up we got is Star Guardian, and they nerfed the bonus of Star Guardian. So technically saying you don't need to play all the Star Guardians, just the important ones you would need. It depends on what you're playing. So say for example, at the beginning, you have a strong early game Syndra with good AP items like Jewel Gauntlet and Shojin. Then over time, you can build up to level 8, pivot the items to either Seraphine. If you don't have her yet, then Ahri is fine. Then build towards AD for Jinx no matter what, because she will end up being your carry and have pretty decent tank items on Poppy. They did nerf Poppy a little bit, so she is a bit weaker as a tank overall, but she's still a great unit. And the concept of this board is if you don't have any AP items whatsoever, then we could play towards Jinx Flex instead. And units I would play for this Jinx Flex board is, instead of Ahri, Syndra, and Seraphine, you can throw in Gnar with Volibear. And the reason why this board will be a little bit better, because you have way more synergies with Jinx, since you have Sniper and all the Star Guardians that she can technically use. So you can play this as well if you want to for Jinx Flex. And then when you hit level 9, the max cap version is with Varus and a Cassante. Then by then, you should have a Braum. So you take out Volibear and just take out Xayah, so you can play this board instead. So this version is also very powerful to play as well, just depending on how you want to see it. But if you want to make it easier on yourself, you could just play Vertical Star Guardian if this is too hard to play, since this can also top 4 as well just by playing all Star Guardians. This is okay to do as well. And the tip here is that Seraphine can technically use tank items because her stats also works with anything you put on her. So her best tank item could be like protectors, or you can put these gloves, which is also really great on her as well. For your fruits on Jinx, it's always either Sky Piercer or any attack speed one, like say for example Hyperactive. Every time you get a kill you gain more attack speed, or you can do Ramping Rage. So either one is fine. If you don't have, like for example, Even Shroud, then just get Sky Piercer. But if you already have an armor pen on the board, then switch to attack speed ones. Sometimes Double Strike is also good as well, but the other two that I mentioned, like Rapping Rage and Hyperactive, would be best. And then for your fruit on Poppy, it's always unstoppable. Always have to force this one. There's really no other way around it. And that's basically about it for all the day 1 comps in patch 15.4. If you have any questions about the comps, just let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll try to explain it to the best of my capabilities. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.